Hi, everyone. This is VA to VA. We're very excited to have y'all here. We had a few technical difficulties, as you know, and we really apologize for getting on late, but we'll try and make it up with all the content we're going to discuss. And we're very excited today to have Alicia J with us from New VA Advice. I think I got that correct. Alicia, welcome to our panel today, and I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit.
Hello everyone. I was very excited to get on today. Yes, I am the owner at New VA Advice, where I mentor other virtual assistants, but I also still run a virtual assistant business myself, Transcription e-Services. So it does definitely help me to relate to people because I know what you're going through right now because I'm still doing it myself. So I live in Pennsylvania and I am married. We have a 5-year-old son, and he stays home with me because he's not, well, he just turned 5, so he's not in school yet. And so I run my business and I raise him.
Great. We're so glad to have you here today with us and to talk about summertime fun and how to run our businesses during the summer with interruptions and some pleasant ones. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But I have my other panelists with us today, and there's Lisa. Lisa, you want to introduce yourself, please?
I'm Lisa Kolb. I am the owner and manager of Augusta Virtual Assistants, and I always enjoy meeting up with you ladies on a monthly basis and talking about how to run a virtual assistant team.
And then we have Nanette, in essence, virtual assistant, and Nanette is part of our normal panel as well. And so go ahead, Nanette.
Oh, well, again, Nanette Telemac, in essence, virtual assistants based out of New Hampshire, Newbury, New Hampshire, small town. And I've been in business for 3 years now and looking forward to expanding into having a team and building my business, and at the same time working full time.
I don't know how she does it. And I'm Tammy with Tammy's Office Solutions, and been in business for 7 years and just love having my own business. And I'm out of Virginia, so outside of Richmond. So today, as you know, our topic is summertime fun and how the challenges that come along with the summertime with children home or even without children, just all the activities that come along, gardening, barbecuing, getting invited to parties, and let's not forget vacationing. Not only our vacations, but our subcontractors' vacations, our clients' vacations, and trying to organize all of that together. So we're going to try and discuss a little bit of that, and whether you have children or not, it doesn't matter because we're going to discuss all those topics. So, Alicia, tell us a little bit about what you do in summer that might be a little different from your normal routine.
Well, I can tell you that I basically kind of switch up my schedule. I do summer scheduling, so to speak, which is another great thing that you can run your own business, right? So you make your own schedule. So I try to kind of cut down the hours, the number of hours that I'm sitting inside staring at a computer screen. So I do, first of all, if I'm doing work, I do a lot of it outside, take it out on my deck and do it out there. We can go to the pool and I can do work there. So basically that's my big thing is I kind of switch over my schedule and I literally write everything down on paper as far as what I need to get done and what's different in this summer so that I know how to fit it all in a day.
I think that's a great idea because you're taking control of it. And I think that's a key thing. I think so often things happen, and especially in the summertime, and they kind of come at us instead of us just going ahead and managing it ahead of time, and then it hits us, and we're kind of like, now what do we do? So I know that can be a big issue, and I think that's one of the best things to do is just manage that ahead of time and expect that that's going to happen. Nanette or Lisa?
I'm sorry. What are you asking about what we do over the summer? It's a challenge because I love
Sure.
gardening. And so I like to make sure I have some time set aside for doing gardening. And there I, and then my husband's a distraction, because he's like, let's go in the car and go somewhere, let's do this and that. And I have to constantly remind him, yeah, I need to have some time to set aside for doing some work. So that's a big challenge. I find for me is I need as many calendar pings as possible to say, okay, it's this time, and so that means you have to be doing this, and okay, it's 9 o'clock, this is cutoff time. So if I don't have those little pings happening, it's so easy for me to get distracted. If the sun's shining, I'm
Absolutely.
gone.
I think a lot of us are, and especially with you working full time, I can't imagine. How about
Right.
you, Lisa? Is there anything you do differently?
I have to think. No, not really. I live in a neighborhood where there are a lot of children out for the summer, so I do get some outside distracting screaming because they're playing in a pool or running around in the yard or running up and down the street, riding their bikes, things like that. Day before yesterday was a little bit challenging. And then if I'm working late in the afternoons, people are coming home from work and they have their windows rolled down and their stereo's blaring. So I get some distracting outside noise at times, but I work to Pandora radio. I like to listen to smooth jazz. It gets me in the zone, so I'll just kind of cut that up a little bit higher. As far as on the inside, my children are grown and gone, and I have grandchildren, and they occasionally come over, but they try to leave me alone during the week. Um, the only challenge that I have coming up will be I have subcontractors that will be taking vacation, and I'll need to, put someone in their place while they're out.
That's a great point. As we said, this is VA to VA where we're helping you to try and help you, run your multi-VA businesses. So we have subcontractors, and that is a big issue. It's hard to find other subcontractors who are willing to do maybe a short term, a week or two. There are probably some out there, but that's a difficult thing. Or then do you pass some of the work on to the other subcontractors and, things like that. So, Alicia, have you run into that at all?
Yeah, I've certainly, I do have someone who's going away shortly for an entire month because she runs a business like this too. So definitely I come up against that as well, where whether it's a subcontractor or clients that are leaving. So I think that's something to factor in as well. I think a lot of people see a lull in business in the summertime, especially if your clients or subcontractors, but they're other entrepreneurs. So they're trying to tailor their schedule around the summer as well and be off if they can, and be away with their families and whatnot. I have a client who's a coach who each summer adds weeks on as far as how many she takes off to be with her family. So each year she tries to add another week off. So eventually she's going to be off the whole summer. So then you come across, well, what do you do? Because you still need to make income during that time, right? I mean, it's not like you don't have any more bills and you're just done for the summer too. So I try to think about it throughout the year to space that income out, but it's also a good time to hold sales or get people to pre-schedule blocks of time with you, because there are still things that are going to have to run in their business even when they're not there. It's not like their businesses are completely shut down. A lot of times they rely on us to handle those things for them, right? So catching them before the summer months, if you know they're going to do that, it's a great time to say to them, hey, I'm running a special on, for example, a block of time or package, and if you want to take advantage of that now, I'll make sure that XYZ is taken care of for you in your business over the summer so that you can enjoy that time away. So that's just something that helps me. Another thing that helps as far as income-wise during the summer, if you have clients that are off, for me would be things like affiliate marketing or creating your own products. If you have a market that wants to do some of the work themselves, it may not be your main target clients that you're dealing with, but perhaps you have some who are at a different price point, and if you put together some kind of how-to guide, for example, on how to take care of something themselves, they would prefer to pay you one amount for, let's say, an ebook or an e-course guide on how to do it. Maybe they can't afford your packaging services to do it for them. So it's just another suggestion, another way to bring in some income in the summer months.
Mm.
That's a great suggestion. I would have never thought of that. Lisa Annette, have you ever done that? You're both on mute. And by the way, just a quick technical note. Nanette, I don't know if you saw my
I did.
post. Okay, apparently we're having an issue with getting people to where we need to get them to the event page.
Okay, I will.
So,
I will hand that. I'll
thank
make
you
sure
so
to do that.
much. Mine won't do it. Thank you.
That brings up a good point about downtime, and you made some good points that I want to make sure that we summarize pretty clearly for people. But the fact that we should be doing this all year round and preparing for summer before we get there. Secondly, talking to our customers about scheduling, so when they go away, we can run their continue to work for them and help them out while they're on vacation. And also it's a good time, when it's a downtime, to think about promoting your business and redoing your website and doing things that start rebranding maybe. It's a good time for, like even in-house cleanup, I would think.
I agree. I agree. I don't have any downtime in the summer. The
Oh,
summer is a real hot season for me. My downtime is usually starts in September and through the holidays. I'm not sure why. I do have my long-standing clients that stay with me, but the short-term projects and stuff just seem to go on hold until the spring. Um, but at any rate, yes, I would say if at any time there is downtime in the business to, tweak internal systems and, make changes to your website and maybe, ramp up your social media postings and things like that.
right. So Alicia, one of the questions I had is, you had a child, and what was that? How was that like? I mean, how do you plan your summers when, I mean, some people, they at least their children are at school, but it's summertime. What do you do? How do you plan that?
Well, that's a good question. I think I'm still figuring it out. No, it's for me. I think it's like, for example, when you have someone who has twins. Let's say you have a friend who had twins, and you only had one child at a time, and you say, I don't know how you handled having twins. And they said, well, that's all I've ever known. So that's just how it works for me. It's kind of like that with my business and having a small child, because I was pregnant when I started the business. So working around him and his schedule is all I know, really. So to be honest, so far, summertime at this point isn't hugely different for me than the rest of the year, except that he has been going to preschool these last 2 years for so many hours, a couple days a week, because there are different kinds of programs around here, and that's what worked best for everybody. So I have to work around his schedule, and my husband works 12-hour shifts and he works nights, so he is usually not here a lot to help with those kind of things. And all of our parents are still working full-time, so I don't have grandparents who could help out during the day and that kind of thing. So I can tell you what's worked for me, because yes, that was a struggle when I started, and I didn't find many people in my position at that point to really get advice from. During the summer, I would say remember that high school students are out of school too, and you may have some girls looking to make a little extra money who could do some babysitting time. So whether that's in your house or if they're in the neighborhood and it's a decent place for them to go to someone else's house that you feel safe and trusted there, that's an idea. There are a lot of programs I know in this area. For example, you have church and local recreation commissions often have summer camp programs. So some of those could run so many days a week. Others are, you come every Tuesday and Thursday. I know there are different programs like that around here. That's been helpful to do things like that. And then, like I said, for me, having him in preschool was great because you have that solid amount of time where it's quiet and you can concentrate and get things done. And I have a cat attacking the window.
I saw that behind you.
I heard him all of a sudden. But those are my suggestions. And honestly, sometime, I mean, let's be real, this is real life. So you can see I have my son here with me now. You have to work around it sometimes, and people have to know that you are a real person. I've always been very honest with clients that there are certain hours that I won't do, that I can't commit to live calls or things. There's also, I would say, try to get them, if they're old enough, to sit and do a quiet activity. I mean, they could sit and, not that you want to have the TV babysit them, but they could sit and watch a movie or play a game or something and have that quiet time, or something quiet next to you so that you can get some work done. But the thing that I find that helps the most, if you can give them a time frame and then tell them, I promise you, when I am done, I am going to devote all of my time to you and only you. Now there's a cat with a sneezing fit. Those are my suggestions.
I think you bring up great points, and I love the entertainment in the background, by the way.
Awesome.
Hello to your son, yes. I think, it's really important that we don't ignore our children. I know I started, mine were a little bit older than yours, but I kind of started slow, too, so that I could still have, and I was homeschooling, so I had 3 homeschooling, so I was trying to just kind of wean into it as they were weaning off of me, so to speak. And I know that one of the things when they were little, anyway, that helped with, and somebody else suggested this years ago, that because whenever you got on the phone, they were going to be right there wanting something, needing something right away. And somebody suggested, like, even if it's just a small shoebox full of little activities that they can do, that only comes out when you're on the phone. Well, the same could be true with work. Prepare some kind of activities or box or something, a tote, whatever, that only comes out when mom's working. So they look forward to you working almost, because it's a special thing that they get to do while you're working, and it's a real treat for them. So sometimes they might get, Mom, go work it. Who knows? But I thought that, that's a really clever idea, because you don't want them to almost resent your working either, like it's a competition between you and them. It's not. They know they come first. No matter what, they know they come first, and that has to be. So I just think that, we have to be very careful with our kids and make sure, we're giving them the right ideas as well, because they're number one in our lives. They really are, and they have to know that. And so that's the biggest thing, I would say, and make sure, like you're doing, Alicia, work around it, work around whatever comes up, and the clients will understand that. They really will, if, like you said, you're honest with them and upfront first. Any other suggestions, ladies?
It's been such a long time since I had children. I don't think I have any. I mean, I guess I could apply that to my husband. I'd like to see if that would work. So, but with him, it's basically, you have to give me some time, or what do you want to do tomorrow? It's for him, because you have your grown-ups too that can be wanting attention. It's telling him that, look, in the morning between these hours, I'm going to get up extra early to do some work, and then we could have this amount of time together, and then maybe after the end of the day, when he's watching something I don't want to watch on TV, then I get back on the computer and I do what I need to do. So it's working around that, that with him, because sometimes he could feel like all you do is work, and I can see why he would feel that way, because after working a full-time job, then I'm doing something on the side. So I have to really plan out my day, and it's very tightly scheduled. But I have to also allow for, when everything goes wrong and my whole schedule's off. So having that flexibility to drop something that I would have done today and say, okay, then I'll do it tomorrow. So it's really a balancing
Absolutely.
act. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. I wonder if you got him a good video in a box with a good video and drinks and chips. You could say, "Here you go, honey." I love the idea.
That would be a good idea.
Some
Just a
husbands
thought.
are still into video games from their teenagehood and childhood, and the wives are, kind of naggy about, are you still on that game? So when they are working and the husband may be at home or relaxing after work, he's like, I'll just give her her time and she'll give me my time, and, it will flow.
That's a good point. Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't like video games, but I can get him maybe, movies that he likes and stuff like that I don't like and say, go for it.
That's right. Absolutely. The other thing I think it's important to remember too, and Alicia, you can give us some pointers on this, is that we need time for ourselves too. We get so busy with taking care of everybody else's needs. We're moms, we're wives, we're sisters, whatever, and we are VAs to our clients. And so we're always busy taking care of everybody else. And then what do we do? So we have to have time to decompress too. How do you decompress, Alicia?
Well, I find that it's definitely hard because you're right. You tend to, as women, we put everyone else first, right? Just to start with. And then you have a business and clients on top of that, and a family who needs to understand what you do for a living, that just because you're home doesn't mean you're not working, and where are you fitting in the time for you. So what I like about having such a flexible schedule is if I choose, I could make some me time in the morning if no one's up yet and it's really quiet. Whatever that is for me, whether it's reading or listening to music or journaling, whatever it is for me that isn't for anybody else. The time that works best for me, I like to, right after my son goes to bed, I can take a bath and no one bothers me and no one's asking me to do anything. It's quiet. So I think it's about finding a time that works for you and fitting it in, not forgetting about it. You might not be able to do it every day, but just try to make a conscious effort, even if it's a couple minutes, to meditate or stop before you start your work for the day. If that's the only time you have when you sit in front of the computer, there are all kinds of quick little apps where it's a 5-10 minute meditation, if that's what works for you, to just kind of center yourself and take a minute, because we deserve that too. Or it could be a big all-out thing. I like to make sure when I ask for birthday gifts, I usually don't want a lot of physical things at this point in my life, but I'll say, if you want to buy me a massage or a mani-pedi somewhere, gift certificate, I would really appreciate that. So those kind of things work for me.
I know that's a great point because, yeah, everything, where everybody works differently, everybody responds differently. And, the other thing is that because we do give so much to everybody else, that we have to remember, if we're not rejuvenating ourselves and renewing ourselves, whether it's prayer, meditating, whatever it is, if we're not doing that, we won't have anything to give, because eventually it runs out of us, and then we're just frayed and tired and stressed and everything else. So I think that is an important point, that we, take that time for ourselves. How about you, ladies? What do you do, Lisa and Annette?
I do have my quiet time in the morning, and I much appreciate that. Um, I get a cup of coffee, and I do read my Bible, and I just take time to, think about what's coming up for the day, um, conversations I've had, a little bit of journaling. Um, so that is my best time. And then in the evenings, I'm usually pretty worn out. So I would have to say mornings are best for me. But I agree with you, Alicia, just centering yourself, taking a minute, um, going and doing something for you. Walking my dog does it for me. That's probably what I would do early evening after shutting everything down, or if I know I've got a couple more hours left. on a project that didn't get completed that day. Maybe I had outside appointments or internal contract work or something like that to work on. So I'll stop and, cook, eat supper, and take the dog for a walk. And that really rejuvenates me, gives me a second wind to finish up any last minute stuff I didn't, take care of during the day. So, yeah, we really do need to focus on ourselves, especially during the summer when everyone else is vying for our attention as well.
Yeah, I think for me, summers are really important. Especially because I have the harsh winters of New England, so I have to be able to feel like I have downtime over the summer because I know what's coming again, and so and I'm not looking forward to it. And so I think for me, there's barbecues going on. There's people inviting you to picnics. There's so many activities. Maybe family members want to come and stay for a while, and so I try to structure my day as best I can. I think that it's worth it to me to get up a little extra early and to do some my virtual work, so that I can have the midday to enjoy. And I used to take a little pad with me to the lake, the beachfront. Whatever. I don't do that anymore because then I'm always working. I'm not really enjoying. I'm half looking at the scenery. So I make sure that I have my time. This is the time I'm going to spend, talking to my husband, hanging at the beach, swimming, whatever. And then when we come back, after enjoying ourselves, and I know my husband wants to do his thing, then I get back on the computer again and finish up some last minute stuff. So I try to structure my day that way. I'm trying to make it sort of like a work plan in the calendar for that day, like my time, work time, my time, and it's kind of like a checker box, off and on, off and on, off and on throughout the day, so that this way I can give my full attention to who I need to, and then full attention to my customers, and that seems to work. And as long as I can follow that, and I don't do it every day. I may have a whole day that I give myself off, and I like that because that means that, like all things, like even today, when you have a schedule, it will go wrong. That's just life. So if I have that day that I know is usually my off day, then that's a day that I could use to maybe do some work that I couldn't do the next day. So I try to give myself flexibility.
Yeah, I think that has to be. And, it goes back a little bit to some things we talked about with tools of the trade when we did that show, because you need to have some good systems in place in order for, this to work like we're talking about. You need a good calendar, maybe project management system, things like that already in place, ready to go for the summer so that you can do all that blocking off like you're talking about, Nanette, and scheduling stuff for yourself and for your clients, also subcontractors, trying to keep track of everybody. And I think that's one of the hardest things about being a multi-VA company is just making sure everybody's where they need to be. If they're not, then somebody else has to cover. And, it gets a little bit hairy there if you're not careful. And you want to provide the best services for your clients. Alicia, do you use any project management systems or certain calendars that you like?
So it's funny, when it comes to calendars, people always ask me and think I probably use some kind of really awesome fancy tool or app, but I am so old school when it comes to that. This still works for me. I have a planner that I write things in because I am still a visual person and pen and paper when it comes to some things. But I take that same information and I make sure that it's saved in my phone. And we have a main calendar in our house that we have everyone's activities on. So whether it's my husband and he has something going on for work, or I have something, or my son, that's kind of where we go to look at everything. And we keep talking about, I know we can make it easier, and for example, we could share a Google Calendar. We just don't ever seem to get to it. I don't know why, but that works for us so far. We have the family planner one on the wall, and I have my personal planner, and then everything that's in there is mimicked in the calendar in my phone. I use other things as far as to keep notes and remember what I need to get done. I love Evernote. for that. I pretty much put everything in there so that I don't forget it. I'm a big note person and a list person. I love lists, but I actually use them. I think some people like to make them and then they're not effective. I I use a style like Nanette was mentioning, and I'm not saying I made up this term because it could be a thing, but I kind of call it the time block method. So I write down all of the things that I want to do in a day or a week. So that includes everything: my personal time, my family time, the work that I need to get done, any household stuff that needs to get done, outside appointments that have to get run. So I write all of that down, and then I set them in blocks of time that they can get done. And those blocks can get moved around and played with, like Nanette was talking about. That's what I like about it. So if one day there's something going on or unexpected, I can shift things and move them in different spots so that I know that it's all getting done, and everything, everyone's needs are getting met, including my own.
Absolutely. I like that it's old school there because we do think there's so many fancy programs out there now and all of that, but pen and paper still work. And some people are just very green, though, too, and they don't want to do that, which I understand. I personally use Google Calendar for most things, but I also am trying a new system. If y'all know, I've talked a lot about project management on any forum I've been on and things like that. Tried just about every one of them out there. And I'm on a new one called Wrike, Wrike, and I really like it. I really like it. But if you have more than 5 users on it, they charge you quite a. It's expensive once you get to that point, like 40 a month, which is a bit high, I think, for project management. But I understand if you're a larger company, it's worth it. But for me, if I have subcontractors and I need to put them on there, I can share everything. I don't have to send them emails. I can just share it, documents in there with them. I could share contracts in there. I can, chat with them. How's this going? How's that project? I just love it. I really do like it. And it has check boxes so I can check off my tasks because I like to do lists. And I really like that. But, like I said, and somebody else was showing me one, and I'll have to look it up again. But today I was in chatting with somebody, and there's another program, and it actually connects to your website. So your clients can be secure, and it creates this really secure center on your website so that you can share and do things directly from the website. You can create this little place there for everybody to share and communicate and share documents, everything, which I think that's awesome. Now, I don't know the price on that one, but I'll post it. I'll try and remember to post the link to that too. But I really like, I looked at both of those and I thought that was really a very great idea because we need more of that. Annette, you want to share anything about that?
Project management software. I mean, I use Trello. I'm still learning it, but I kind of like it. It does give you, lets you do what they call blocks of time, and then in that each blocks you can have your list of things that you need to do. And I think you can share it with other people. Although right now I'm just using it to manage my day. And I like it because I'm not a paper person. I tend my problem is I could be a bag lady with loads of papers in my bag, and then I can't find anything, so it doesn't work for me that way. But and I've been called a bag lady by friends, but so I try to avoid carrying around a bunch of stuff that I'm taking and going, well, what was that? What was I supposed to do? I basically just need a computer and turn it on, and there it is in front of me, and that's what Trello does for me.
So we have a new nickname for you. I know a lot of people use Trello and really like it. I know there's also Podio, 17 Hats. What is it? Teamwork, I think it is. So there's a lot of systems out there. But the main thing I think, that we're discussing is keeping a schedule. And especially in the summertime, it's just so important to really block off that time for you, your family, and of course your clients and subcontractors. And so I think that's a huge thing. And sometimes it's hard for us to do that. Some people aren't as detailed either, and so they don't want to put in the little time for this and that, and even cleaning or whatever else you have to do, during your day. Some people don't like to do that, but others love, that time management type thing. Lisa, what do you do?
I use Client Spot. I have since the beginning. I did my research on the project management tools, and that's the better fit for me and my team. We place a project in there. We list the tasks. We put the time frame that that task has to be done, whether it's a week, a day, a month, and then we can check it off. The client can log in at any time and look at their particular project, not any other, and see what's being done, when it was completed, how long it took, things like that. It gives a level of accountability and gives them peace of mind that I'm not walking my dog when I'm supposed to be working with them, that the tasks are getting completed. Um, and that works best for me. Now, I use Google Calendar for my own schedule, and it's on my phone, it's on my tablet, it's on my computer. I get the notifications, and so that works best for me. Plus, I'm a color-coded person. I don't know if any of you are, but I like to color code things on my calendar. I use highlighters when I make lists on paper, for priorities or things that are supposed to stand out. That's just the way I'm wired. So I will color code on my calendar so I'll know, what's most important or something that will catch my eye, or, just like my workout time block is a bland color, but yet having breakfast with a team member is red, things like that. So that's what works for me and keeps me on task. Time blocking, color coding, and using Client Spot.
Yeah, I'm going to check out Client Spot because I remember you mentioning that on the tools, and I just really got to get in there and look at it because it sounds like a great tool. But I can resonate with you because I love the color too. I mean, even when I was trying to share Google Calendar with a client because I was making some appointments for him, and but he's a security guy, so he didn't want to do it. But I still made sure his was separate, so and colored separately, so I didn't get it mixed up. So I think that is, it's huge. I think as a BA, generally speaking, we have to be organized anyway if you're going to do this type of a position. Otherwise, you're going to be all over the place and not know which direction you're turning. And then, especially Nanette, with you working full time on top of it, you just really have to be organized. And but I think organization doesn't mean you take out the fun or sometimes the impromptu date with your husband or whatever it is. I think sometimes there's time in life for interruptions and good interruptions. And then you just work around those things. Now, are there any other questions that anybody else had in regard to our summertime fun?
Mm,
Well, Alicia, do you have anything special planned this summer?
Well, this summer we don't have a lot of big things, maybe some time at the beach, but that's because we are going to Disney for the first time in the fall. So we're kind of reserving our big getaway time for that. So that's going to be fun and exciting. But no, we have some small things planned. It's definitely a good time for us to visit family, depending on where you live, and I'm in Pennsylvania, so when the weather is not so great for traveling in winter, we tend to use the time to use that for some traveling and see family that might live out of state or different places, and definitely get in some beach time this summer.
No, we're spending most of our time this summer also visiting family and things like that. We've had some illnesses in the family, and you only have limited time with people, and so that is an important part of what we do. What about Lisa and Annette? Do you have big plans this summer? plans, ladies? No plans. Okay. So you're
No,
going to do everything impromptu.
no, no. Actually, yes. This is the year of spending a lot of money on my house. A
Oh,
roof, a mediation issue, starting next week. So we're laying low and but I live in a beautiful area. There's a lake 2 miles down the street from me. I can go boating, kayaking. There's hiking across the street from me. So it's all going to be local.
yeah, that's great though. We
Yeah.
have we have summers that are like that, and like us, we live right near. We're in between two major theme parks. A lot of years we've done the where you get a what is it, a pass, and so we can go as often as we want because we live near Busch Gardens and Water Country as well as Kings Dominion. So we have a lot of opportunities just locally, to do this as well. So yeah, I mean, we're waiting also because we have a big anniversary coming up in March. So we're going to do
Congratulations.
something special then. So, like, I'm so excited for you, Alicia, with Disney because 5 years old will be a great age to take him, and he will just be amazed.
Yeah, yeah, I think we're all excited, and I've never been before either. So, um, yeah, we're all looking forward to it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really wonderful. Well, Alicia, we only have a few minutes left. Was there anything else that you wanted to help us out with today in regard to just getting through the summer this year?
I think that what we found today with all of us talking is that it has to be something that works for you as far as making a schedule. So it's great to get ideas, to find out what other people do, but then try different things out. If you're not sure what works for you, try different methods and see, what feels comfortable to you. It might be something where you're using like chunking time, or it might be something that you like a certain app to keep track of things, or as far as the time of day you work. I think that's what it comes down to. You're going to know what works best for you. But I love doing things like this and talking to other VAs because you get an idea of what works for other people. And sometimes you learn something you never even heard of, and you think, oh, I have to look that up. And that might be the thing that clicks for you and makes life easier. You just never know.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, and we learn so much from each other. I love getting together in HOAs and even online. And I know you talked about Evernote. One of our G Plus virtual assistant group is doing an Evernote challenge right now. And I had tried to start it and then I got new clients but I'm going to go back and listen and look because I've been meaning to learn more about it. And I know it's a great program. It's just I've not had the time, to learn about it. So, and I think you're right. We could summarize. We have the subs and all of that. The sub issue for multi VA companies. We have to, get subs who are willing to do just a week or two at a time, or maybe for the summer you get a sub that's going to be the substitute for your subcontractor all summer. If they can do all of that work depending on what your subs are doing and if they can handle it or not. So that's another option is you get somebody for the summer, and who knows, maybe by the end of the summer you have a new client and they can be more permanent for you. But I think that's something definitely also we discussed, and I think that whether another subcontractor you have covers for each other or whether you get an actual another subcontractor to come in, those are important things to look at in the beginning. And I think it's important, like at springtime, to just put a feeler out to all your subs, to your clients, and everybody, and just say, hey, I'm looking forward to the summer and I'm planning. Can you tell me, do you know what you have coming up? And, just ask them for a little bit of notice because sometimes you get, oh, I'm going to be out of town next week. And then it's a little bit harder. Lisa, how do you handle that and manage that?
I I basically it's a little something different every year, every summer. Right now, I have two subcontractors that are planning to vacation. I had one that just came back, and I think it is a good idea to maybe bring somebody on just for the summer to get their feet wet, and then they may end up being long term in the fall. I think that's a really good idea. Or somebody who would like to intern. Um, Maybe they are looking at a field of some other type, but they would like to intern as a VA for the summer. Maybe they're in college or something like that, and you could give them some basic administrative tasks. I think that's a really good idea. I'm already working on getting the temporary replacements for the two that are going on vacation in the next couple of months. And so every year it's just a little bit different because I may have a client that says, because like last year, I had a client that said, I don't need a replacement while she's out for the week. There's stuff I can take care of, and I don't need anybody to come in. And sometimes the VA likes that because they don't have to share that week of pay. um, So that's how I handle it. I just kind of roll with it and see what the client needs and what the subcontractor needs.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes the client doesn't need anybody in during that week. They've already planned on them being gone, and that's great. I think that's a good point as well. How about you, Nanette? I know you've been in the process of, bringing on subcontractors and things. Have you ever had to do that or replace or fill in?
Not yet. Most of the time, the contractors I've brought in have been short projects. Just if I feel overwhelmed, and so I hadn't had to worry about giving them a long-term project and then have to worry about them going on vacation or getting ill or anything like that. So I've been lucky. I think for me, one of the issues that I'll be dealing with this summer is a slow time. I have one or two clients that I'll be working with, but definitely a lot of time on my hands, and so I have two choices. I could really up my enjoyment of the summer, or I could use it to work on my company, and I'll probably do a split of both in terms of look at my website, what can I do to add to it, what new content, networking, because summertime is great for networking, and see what new business I can drum up for the fall. So concentrating on doing things that's going to help my business when it starts getting busy.
That's a great point too, because as VAs, and having our own companies, we always have to be working on the marketing and the other aspects of our company too, if we're going to still bring in new clients. So as busy as we are, we have to make time for that. So that's a great point. And while you have a lull, and that's what I do too, when that little bit of lull comes, you grab it to work on it. Now, Alicia, what did you do with subcontractors when you have had some out? Have you had that before?
Well, I kind of have like a standby list of others that I know where they may do work for other teams, but if things get either really busy for me, or if I'm going to lose somebody for a short period of time, I have a list I can go to get some help to cover those spots. Another thing I suggest is, if you're looking for more subcontractors, to check with the existing ones you have, because just like us, they may know someone who has an opening in their own schedule or is looking to get into this kind of work and wants some experience. So that might be another way to fill the spot, is just to ask them if they have other recommendations as well.
That's a great point. It really is, because you just never know. They could know somebody, like you said, and I think having that list, that's a great idea as well. Just having that go-to list that you can call on and say, hey, I have this project, or I have somebody out, can you fill in, and that kind of thing. So I think that's really important to do that as well. So I actually had something come up this week already where, and it was somebody I was training. I really like her and she's doing well, but I'm training her a couple different things, and I was starting to feel that little bit of relief you start to feel when you start to let that go. And so I had taken on a little more work with one client, and then suddenly she had an emergency, a family emergency, and she just had to drop and go. And I understood that, but in the meantime, I'm doing the work. As you have that, it ultimately falls back on us, and everything. And so, yeah, so that was, that's an interesting experience as well. So I think having that list does help. In some of my specific things, though, they have to be trained, and that's harder if they're not already trained in certain things. So, yeah, so I think that is a good point, though, definitely, to have a list of people. So, who wants to summarize? We're going to close up today. Alicia, we can't thank you enough for joining us. You've been a great guest, and we really appreciate it. And remember, guys, she's with with New VA Advice. So if you're just starting out, or even if you've been in the business but are stuck and you need some help, give her a call, and you can find her. We'll put her website up also on the page so that you can find her okay. And again, we just really appreciate you taking time out today. I know you have a busy day and a busy week, so just really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that it worked out. It was so fun. I apologize for my random, interruptions here, but again, this is real life, and we do what we do to get things done. But it was so much fun. So thank you, ladies, for having me.
It was great having you. And I guess we're summarizing what we talked about, and I guess is to think about you know uh, activities for your children. I guess was mentioned. Giving him, I like that suggestion of having a box that you take out of activities that your children can do while you are working. That's a great suggestion. If you have downtime where you don't have a lot of client activity happening, then maybe it's a good time to consider rebranding and looking at your business and networking to bring more business for the future. And of course, the decompression. Always make time for yourself. At some point, even if you can't do it every day, make sure that there's a time that's only for you. And I love the massage. That's a great suggestion. That's what I always want for Christmas. So.
I agree with everything that was said. I can't add any more to it. And I wish everyone a very safe and joyous summer holiday season. Because, like Nanette said, winter's going to be on us before we know it. Of course, we don't want to think about that. So do enjoy the sunshine and the free time and all of the opportunities to spend them with family and friends. And we will see y'all in the fall.
Yes, one quick programming note, as Lisa just said, we're going to see you in the fall. We're going to take off July and August. We're going to revamp. You're going to see some new graphics and other exciting things. We're going to actually do a web page and maybe an ebook. So keep an eye out, and we look forward to you guys. We'll still be available on the page, so if you have questions or anything, but we appreciate you watching. I know it was a little pink today, so a lot of you will probably watch after the fact, but we just appreciate you taking the time to do that. And appreciate everybody. Have a great summer. We'll see you in September. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.